Every year, Hollywood gets together to showcase the very best in music, television, and film. Now artists in Utah can do the exact same thing, introducing the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards. The Filmed in Utah Awards celebrates the very best in music, television, and film, and wants to celebrate all those people involved. Come be part of the celebration here at White Willow Reception Center as we celebrate the very best in music, television, and film at the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards. Welcome back. I'm here with Amber Clark of the Cadence Dance Company. Amber, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Well, Amber, tell me, what is it that is different with Cadence versus any other dance company in Utah? Matter of fact, any dance company in the world, especially with some of the new shows you have coming up.
Well, we collaborate with several different groups and independent artists who are the best at what they do. For example, a couple of the artists we're working with this year, our belly dancer just won a international belly dance competition. She took first place.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Hope McCurdy.
I know the name, yes.
She just finished doing some filming for the Lone Ranger movie with Johnny Depp.
Oh, sweetness, action. Loving this. Now, you have a show coming up, and it's running through August till, I think, October.
Till Halloween night.
Oh, fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about why this show is going to be so cool?
It's a dark circus, so it's a little bit different from the normal, zombies and vampires that you see.
Oh, thank you.
During Halloween, yeah. Let's take a break from Michael Jackson for a year.
There you go.
And do some dark circus.
So what kind of performances or acts are we going to see in this performance?
You're going to see LED hula hoopers, you're going to see aerialists, you'll see fire dancers, you'll see contortionists, belly dancers, our dancers will be dancing as well, and then we also have a magician that comes and does some magic.
It sounds like almost like a Las Vegas show with how much stuff's being brought in here. It's not like your typical college or high school dance recital where they just come out, play, do the songs, and then they leave. It sounds like a full-on variety show almost. Yeah,
it is. It's definitely there's something for everyone. And we do keep it family friendly. It's not something that's terribly frightening, but it'll definitely make you writhe in your seat a little bit.
All right, so we're going to have some fun watching this, and it's not going to be too scary. And I'm guessing that everyone's going to. It sounds like a fun thing. How did you get into dance just to start off with?
I actually have been dancing since I was 5 years old. I started with ballet and tap with Peggy Nielsen in North Ogden, and did some acting and some modeling and some music. I went to music school for a little while, and then after my son was born, I decided I wanted to create an adult dance company specifically for young men and women who wanted to make this a career for themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I know we've got some great dancers here because I've seen a lot of our dance talent on shows like America's Best Dance Cruise. So You Think You Could Dance. Matter of fact, we've had quite a few of them in the finals here in the state. I know we've got that talent, but how does that cross over into film? Do you guys work with filmmakers who want to bring in choreographers to make, say, a musical?
Absolutely. High School Musical is a good example, but we've also done things for music videos as well, and work with some of the local musicians here to add another element to their music video.
Awesome. I'm excited to see some more of what the Cadence Dance Company is up to. Now, the one show that's coming up till October, I'm excited to see. I've even seen some of the commercial ads and a couple of the pictures that you guys have been putting up on Facebook. But what are the ways that people can get a hold of you to see what other events are coming up? So that they can be more part of Cadence?
There's two ways to get a hold of us. We have a Facebook page. It's just Cadence Dance Co. And then our website is cadencedanceco.com.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are also a part of another group that helps raise money for smaller businesses. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's our profit sharing with Stratus. That is an opportunity not only to drive sponsorship and funding to the dance company as a whole, but also to our dancers as individuals.
Oh, that's good. So no more starving artists.
Right, absolutely. It's stress-free entertainment, so to speak.
Well, good. Well, I'm down with stress-free entertainment. Real quick, is there any other things that are coming up that you can tell us about of any other performances, say right after October? Do you have anything in the works?
Yes, I've got a brand new top secret project that we're working on for spring. I haven't really been divulging a lot of information about that, but it's definitely going to be something that is unique and something that Utah hasn't seen before. So.
And if there are dancers out there that want to join your company, how can they do that? And who are you looking for? Or are you even looking for dancers?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking for, like I said, young men and women 18 and older who are looking to make a career of this, professional, dedicated dancers.
Human Works speaks of a mother's love and heartache for her child and for the children of Africa. With the sun and the moon as his witness, Jean-Pierre Makosso shines a light on the darkness of the African experience. At the same time, he speaks of faith so deep, it grabs the reader by the soul. Jean-Pierre's poetry is participatory. You will feel the despair of Black Africans. You will ache for justice. You will dream of peace for all people. Available at abebooks.com.
A slight chill in the air, towering corn, and ghostly figures can only mean one thing. It's time for Fall Harvest Days at the American West Heritage Center. Join the fun at awhc.org.
Osmond Real Estate has been serving Utah County since 1979 with a high standard of quality and personalized client service. Call or visit us today at osmondrealestate.com.
Tired of all those books that are piling up? Then get rid of those stacks and pick up the Dedicaces ebook reader. With it, you'll get 300 classic books, 25 audiobooks, 10 pieces of music, and 2 audio conferences. The Dedicaces ebook reader allows you to download hundreds of books from the internet and read them wherever and whenever you want. View videos, photos, and listen to your favorite music. Get a bonus leather carrying case with purchase. The Dedicaces ebook reader for optimal reading comfort.
Now it's time for Know Your Role, where you can find out exactly what everyone does in the entertainment industry. Today we're taking a look at film composers. The film composer is the person that writes all the music for a film. They work with the director, often in the pre-production stage, to determine what style the director is looking for. The film composer works with the music editor, whose job is to insert the composer's pre-recorded score into the soundtrack. This can be more complicated than it sounds, since the composer may have recorded the score before the sequence was even filmed, and as such, the music may or may not be the right length for the scene. This is why in many lower-budget films, the lines of the film composer and the music editor get blurred and often end up falling on the shoulders of the same person. If you'd like to know more information on the different jobs in the entertainment industry, you can find them at filmedinutah.com.
Welcome back. I'm here with Richard Williams, who's one of our local film composers. And the cool thing is, Richard is still over at school, but he's already composing some really cool pieces that have been winning awards. Richard, first off, thank you for being on the show. Tell me a little bit about how you got interested in film composing in the first place.
I remember just being like captured by film music, and I don't think I recognized it at the moment growing up. But after my mission, I just realized how much I like it. And so I thought to myself, I have ideas while the music is playing where I think it's going to go, or maybe it can go. And sometimes it does go there and sometimes it doesn't. And so I thought, if I can somehow keep track of my thoughts, then maybe I can find it on the piano. Maybe I could, put in a synthesizer that's connected to the video. So that's where the thought came up.
That's pretty cool. Now, one of the things that I love about film composers, anybody who's in the filmmaking world knows of a few filmmakers, right? And film composers off the top of their head, John Williams being one of them. But every single film composer that I've ever met has almost like an uncanny sense of emotion that can be elicited from a score. You're able to watch a scene, and depending on how the type of performance you're receiving from the director, from the actors, or the direction that the director wants to go, you're able to explicit that in your music before anybody's able to really deliver that on screen, or at least enhance it. When you were doing that last piece that won the award, what was that called?
Mashed?
Mashed, right. Was that a BYU produced show?
One of the guys in my Japanese class, I told him that I want to do film scoring. He's like, let me see your stuff. So I showed him some of my demo stuff. He said, that looks great. He's like, I want to do it in a year. And so I was like, okay. So I waited a year. After a year, I said, you still want to do it? He's like, yeah, I'm still down. So he animated the whole thing, and he now works at DreamWorks.
It helps when you have a buddy who gets that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
So you worked with your buddy doing this film, and you did the score. Why aren't you at DreamWorks?
That's a good question.
Because they haven't offered you enough money yet. That should be the real answer right there. Well, I'm sure that'll probably be where you go, because I've heard your stuff. It's really good. And you had a piece that just won a student Emmy, and we were watching the behind the scenes on that. You can see that on YouTube. It's just some really moving stuff. And I love how you're kind of taking some of this music that in a totally different direction. What is your process when you're meeting with a director on how you compose your film scores?
That can depend. That can vary widely. Sometimes the director knows what he wants, and he'll tell me. He'll be like, I'm thinking of this style, this music, these collection of instruments. Sometimes they don't know, so I start asking them questions, and sometimes I get more information of what they really think that maybe they couldn't say it, but they kind of have an idea. For me, there's a lot of ways that you can make music. Inspiration can come from hearing other music, from a beat, from just one instrument itself, from chords that you'll play, from a melody. So I'll just a lot of times I'll try and pinpoint the genre, what instruments I'll probably use, like the color palette or something, and then from there I'll think about all kinds of different possibilities, what the rhythm might sound like. If it's like high action, I'll think, okay, maybe it's like a Born Identity type thing approach,
Sure.
or if it's like Prince of Persia type approach. So I'll just start narrowing things down, and then I'll just, one time I'll go with the chords, and I'll think, from the chords perspective, can I map out 16 bars or however long, a minute of something interesting? Mm-hmm. Depending on what it needs, if it's just background music or if it needs a main theme, for example, with the chord approach, I'll be like, okay, let's see if I can pull up a main theme, and from that, I'm gonna grab pieces and quote that on later on, so there's like cohesiveness with the whole thing.
That's really cool. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of the people who are going to watch the show are like, I just don't understand half the things he said. But you can explain this to the filmmakers so that they understand what it is. But ultimately, when you play the music with their score, that's when they're going to get it the most. You guys need to really get a good film composer, and Richard is a fantastic one. So if you want to get his contact information, we're going to make that available on our website. So be sure to take a look at filmedinutah.com. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to some more awesome filmmakers in the state. You're watching Filmed in Utah. Every year, Hollywood gets together to showcase the very best in music, television, and film. Now artists in Utah can do the exact same thing. Introducing the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards. The Filmed in Utah Awards celebrates the very best in music, television, and film, and wants to celebrate all those people involved. Come be part of the celebration here at White Willow Reception Center as we celebrate the very best in music, television, and film at the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards. I've got Nathaniel Drew here, and you may have seen him on the show many times because, well, he's awesome. He's the guy who does all the Salt Lake Studio Pops Orchestra.
Salt Lake Pop Studio Orchestra.
See, I'm going to mess it up
It's
all the
all
time.
good.
It's okay. Power of editing is, I could edit this, but why? It's funnier when I don't. But yes, you've got the orchestra where you compose music and it's available for bands, not bands, but orchestras. And it's kind of does like what Glee has done for school choirs, you're doing for orchestras.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so that's how most people will know you, from your music videos. But I know you also as a film composer. You have been composing for a few years now. How many years?
About 15 years.
About 15 years. As you can tell, he's over 50 years old. No.
I'm old. It's the beard.
So you started composing in high school. And what got you interested in composing in the first place?
You know, I was lucky enough to go to a high school that had the president of the Utah Music Education Association, and he was just incredibly, just a go-getter type of guy, and he would book our high school band in a lot of places around the nation. And I remember as a freshman, he brought me into the symphonic band, which is an audition band. And at the time, I was just over the moon that he would bring me as a freshman, because he never did that. But it was specifically for a tour. And I had a friend who came to me, and it was kind of an intense process getting ready for these gigs around the nation. And one of my friends, I was a trombonist, low brass. It's good stuff.
Love trombone players.
That's right, euphonium, man.
That's right.
And we had some intense rehearsals and intense sectionals, and one of my friends, who was a fellow trombonist, said, "Hey, Ned, I want you to listen to this." And he put in my ear Michael Kamen's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I had never heard something that spoke to me so emotionally and so beautifully. And I got into film composing because I heard that and I said, I can do that. I'm going to do that someday. And so, yeah, that's why I got into it.
Yeah, I think, I was actually a band geek in a former life. Played trombone, did euphonium, and I was convinced that I was going to go down the same path. doggone it, to become a film composer, you need to be able to play piano. You do, because a lot of the stuff that you'll do nowadays is digital, and a lot of that comes from playing the piano. And being a euphonium player after a while, I got really good at using this hand to play all my notes. This hand is dead to me. So this one's useless. And so those dreams kind of fell away, unfortunately, but I still love everything that a film composer
Funny
can do.
story. I could have taken that same path because, when I was 5 years old, I had about 2 months worth of piano lessons, so I kind of knew where middle C was. But when
It's in the middle.
Yeah, that's right, exactly right. And, I started writing orchestral music at 15, but I got into the AP music class as a junior, which you're not supposed to do really, but I talked to the teacher and he allowed me. And I didn't play the piano at all really at the time, except I knew where middle C was. And so I actually took that whole year because after a while I realized I was way behind the other students. And mostly because I couldn't figure out how the relationships of the notes worked with each other. And to get that, sometimes you have to have the spatial ideas that are very inherent in pianos. So I took every lunch period that whole year, and I went into a practice room, and I just fiddled with pianos. And I just tried to figure it out, and I started writing my own stuff on piano, and after a while, I started playing by ear. And so I could have very easily taken your path and said piano is too hard, but I got to a place where I was just so determined, again, it was the Michael Kamen music, perhaps, it was just the bug in my head, that I said, I'm going to get this. And so, I guess I took AP music my junior and senior year and just had a blast. So, and I was way ahead of the game my senior year, obviously.
So now let's talk. Now, you started composing then in high school.
Yeah.
Where has that led you professionally? Because you now compose a lot of music for BYU Broadcasting. And not just BYU Broadcasting, but other films that are made outside of that organization. Can you think of how many films you've composed over the last few years?
Oh, geez. I once tried to put a list together, and if I try and go back and put them all on paper, I honestly can't think of all of them. So I would guess 50 plus films.
Oh, okay, wow.
And I've done a lot. I've written a lot of musicals, and I've written a lot of commercials and a lot of other stuff. So it's not something I can remember anymore.
So what advice would you give to go back 15 years.
Okay.
We're both in the same room. You see me say, screw this, I'm going to go be a filmmaker instead.
Take the easy path, right?
That's right, that's what it says. But you got somebody there and you say, you know what, you want to be a film composer, this is what you should do if you really want it.
Well, it seems like everybody loves music, and if you don't love music, you shouldn't be in this business. But if you really want to make it, I think in this industry in general, because there's no real career path. There's no, follow these 5 easy steps and you'll be a film score. There's nothing like that. And the best thing I can tell an aspiring film composer to do is it's a story actually. So there are this group of boys, and perhaps you can picture Sandlot, right? And they hit their baseball over a fence. And these boys were trying to figure out how to get this ball. And this was back in the what
1980s?
do you call it? No, it's the 30s, when everybody lost their money. So the kids all had those little beanies and whatnot. And they're trying to figure out how to get this ball. And one of the kids throws his hat over this fence where this ball has gone. And the kid's looking at him, are you crazy? Why did you do that? He said, well, my mom's going to kill me if I don't get my hat back. And so what I would say to aspiring film composers is find a way to throw your hat over that fence. Something that's going to push you, and basically a way that you're not going to go back on something. You have to go and get it. So whether that means getting all your education in that one basket, I know it's kind of scary that way, but it forces you to do what you really want to do.
I like that. So kind of set yourself up for failure not to be an option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you fail at that, then you fail at life, and there's no use going on at all.
You're living in a van down by the river.
By the river. That's right.
Well, that's good advice, because what you'll hear people do say, I want to be a filmmaker. Well, what's your backup plan? Backup plan? No, I want to be a filmmaker.
Right.
Or I want to be a film composer, or I want to be a musician, or an artist, or you get the idea.
I don't have a backup plan.
Yeah, this is it. So, it's make it or break it. I think if more people really took that philosophy to heart, saying, I'm going to commit,
right.
I'm going to make this happen, I think you'd see a lot more wonderful things happen in this industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Because their whole livelihood depends on it.
Right.
And what I love is something that you're doing right now is you're not just hoping that people will call you and say, hey, I want you to compose a film for me.
Right.
You're actively looking at new opportunities.
Sure.
And that's why on the show, you're seeing a lot of your orchestra doing all these different pieces, and you're getting a huge response. And you're marketing it in all the right ways.
I hope so. We'll find out.
Because we're seeing millions of people are watching this between your channel and the different channel of the other artists that are performing with you. Right. Millions of views on these videos. I think it's making an impact. And if it's not making an impact cash-wise yet, at least it's making an impact, with the exposure that people are now being exposed to what you're able to do with your talents, and just because you wouldn't quit. Not too bad.
Yeah, well, thanks. Well, it's obviously made an impression on you, and
it has.
That's good.
And then I have to show up in one of your videos. Ever write a euphonium part?
Hey, I've got the bass trombone parts covered, and that's euphonium pretty much.
I could
I know there are a few things with fingerings, but yeah, I'll write one for you.
All right, sounds like a plan. I love free stuff, and our guys up here at Editions Dedicaces keep sending us so many cool things to share with the Filmed in Utah audience. I wanted to share this one with you. This is the Editions Dedicaces mug. And you can get this. All you have to do is be the first one to send me an email at filmedinutah@gmail.com. In the subject line, put mug. Every year, Hollywood gets together to showcase the very best in music, television, and film. Now artists in Utah can do the exact same thing. Introducing the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards. The Filmed in Utah Awards celebrates the very best in music, television, and film, and wants to celebrate all those people involved. Come be part of the celebration here at White Willow Reception Center as we celebrate the very best in music, television, and film at the second annual Filmed in Utah Awards.